to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Jill McKean-Bilby, President of BOK Financial Equipment Finance. Thanks for joining me, Jill.
Hey, Jesse. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I know we've been trying to get this on the calendar for a little bit, so glad it finally worked out.
No, I'm glad to have you here and appreciate you giving me some time on a Friday afternoon. I'm sure it's a beautiful time of year down there in Texas, just before it gets too hot.
See me.
It's like that in Arizona. It's like, oh, I can deal with this. And then like
well, this afternoon it was 100 degrees driving back. So
and that's a sticky 100 too. At least here 100 is tolerable, but when it's 110, that's when you're just like, nah.
Yeah.
No. Still don't miss the East Coast by any stretch of the imagination. I'll take 100, 110, 120 all the day, all time. But yeah. But thanks again for joining me. And for those people who might not be familiar with you, Jill, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and your career to date in equipment finance?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again. Jill McKean-Bilby, current president, BOK Financial Equipment Finance, as Jesse mentioned. I started my career back in 2000 with the Associates in Irving, Texas, and was in the transportation finance group and did a variety of assignments there on a management training program, credit training, collections, operations, asset management, and so forth. Shortly thereafter, we were purchased by City Capital, as many people know that are in the industry. And then I was in sales there in City Capital for a while, and then we're purchased by GE Capital, and where I had a variety of roles, handling redeployment of assets, transportation and construction assets all over the United States and Canada, as well as corporate finance for GE Capital. So I was with pretty much the same group of people, but through business cards for about 12 and a half years. Then took an opportunity to go to Frost Bank for 5.5 years, covering sales for North Texas and West Texas, the Permian Basin. And then was there, like I said, 5.5 years, and then had an opportunity through networking with someone in my MBA program that I went to TCU with, Texas Christian University. Had an opportunity to network and meet my current employer, BOK Financial, which in Texas is known as Bank of Texas, but we operate in 8 states, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. And so we're about a $52 billion in asset bank, but I manage the equipment finance and leasing portfolio for all of our direct end user customers throughout the 8-state bank footprint. And so I've been with BOK Financial now for going on 6 years. So it's been a good ride, a good career, and I've been in the industry for now 23 solid years.
That's fantastic. And there's so much that kind of questions I'm going to try to unpack all that right there. So you started off, ground up, right? Learning all of those skills, which is kind of rare, I think, nowadays. I mean, there are some organizations out there that kind of force that upon me, not upon me, but upon their new employees. And I believe in that model. My first job in equipment finance, they actually made me go and, it was outsourcing of invoices. So like the first couple of weeks, it's like you're loading paper in a printer, understanding the process and everything. So you can understand how the sausage is made. So when you're selling it, you can speak a little bit more intelligently through the process.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. I think, in any job, any career, any young person, our kids included, I think starting at the ground up and starting at the very bottom and learning how everything is made, like you said, the kind of how the sausage is made, and, having that experience, dealing with different situations, knowing the different terminology. And then, Associates had a phenomenal management training program that had covered so many different areas. And a lot of, what we're starting to see today in our workforce, unfortunately, is a lot of those management training programs are starting to go away. And, where we work for a bank. And so we have a bank training program, and it's a phenomenal training program. We call it the ACT program, but it doesn't necessarily cover equipment finance per se. It's covering, some different areas of banking. And so,
Sure.
for the industry, for the equipment finance space in the industry, we don't really see so many of those equipment finance specific training programs any longer. So I really miss that. And I really would like to see some of that come back to the industry, just for the pure fact of helping grow up new talent.
Sure, absolutely. Well, plus a lot of the talent nowadays is like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to start. I mean, Jill, what are you, president? Well, I want to be president. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It
Let's
doesn't work
see, in
that way.
6 months, I need to be at this job. And no.
Yeah, be like no, there is a step, there is a process.
Natural progression.
Um,
That's right.
and I didn't know that you were a horned frog.
Yeah. So my MBA, so my undergrad is Texas A&M University, and I was a kinesiology and sports management major,
Okay.
with a business minor. I went on to do an internship at the U.S. Olympic Training Center right before I
Oh,
started with the associates. And so I helped plan the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games, for the international games preparation group for Team USA. And so was planning all the logistics and tickets and uniforms and all this stuff for Team USA for the Sydney games. And clearly got into equipment finance. And to your point, talking about kind of the natural progression, as I continued to interview throughout my management training program, I would interview for different jobs, and I would always get several managers just kind of scratching their head going, sports management. And I explained, the story, but I always had an interest in going back to school and kind of furthering my education. And when I was at GE Capital, had the opportunity to go to get my MBA in international business and management, was my concentration at TCU. So went to school at night and worked during the day, traveled during the day, and it was a good experience.
I have two questions for you. Did you get to
Okay.
go to Sydney to watch the Olympics? No, you couldn't stow
I
away. You,
had
you couldn't stow away in a suitcase and just be like, oh, there's an extra piece of cargo that's going.
okay. So my internship, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so chatty about this.
I don't care. It's interesting.
So my internship, I had a lot of friends that I had made throughout my internship. It was my last semester of college, and so graduated in May of 2000. So I'm telling you my age at this point, but I had so many friends that were on staff already, and so the way that it worked with Team USA is if you were deployed from away from the United States for greater than 6 weeks at a time, then you could have a buddy or a family member or spouse or whomever, come join you for, for a trip to see you. And so I had a couple of friends that offered me their buddy ticket. And I had already started my career with the associates at that point, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to stay on full time with the USOC, and wanted to go ahead and transition back to Texas. And
All right. 23 years later, are you regretting your decision?
I will honestly say 23 years later, I was adulting, I was being responsible. And but I will say I did go with some of my best friends. We did have an opportunity to go to the Vancouver games, the winter games. And so when we were at GE, GE had a pretty cool deal because they were a sponsor. We got discounts on tickets and stuff like that. And I had all of my friends that were still at the USOC, and they kind of helped hook us up a little bit too. But we are looking at possibly going to Paris next summer to try to go see the summer games in Paris next year. I've always been an Olympic fan, always been a sports fan. Just, I love the energy around it. I respect the people that, are training for doing something that they love, not necessarily so much, unfortunately, in the professional world today, not so much just about the money and the paycheck, but I've always loved the ones who, have given it their all since they were absolutely tiny. And I respect that.
No, that's fair. So while we're on sports,
Okay.
Big 12 or SEC?
SEC all the way. So it's funny, they always say that you kind of follow your undergrad alma mater, and so Texas A&M, and golly, I hope Jimbo Fisher brings us home with some better wins this year. But I will say, okay, I was a 12th,
I would like to go to a football game there. If they're the home of the original, was it original 12th man? Is that their
original
logo?
12th man. It's a
Yeah.
it's a very cool, cool football stadium. But I will say this too. I mean, absolutely so proud of our Horned Frogs, and the national, playing in the national championship. And I mean, that
Yeah.
was such a great honor. I mean, I know we got pummeled pretty hard, but just, to be on that stage and to have that much visibility.
Sure.
I absolutely adore and respect our Horned Frogs. I do. And actually, I still do. I am actually on the board of directors for the business school at TCU as well, the Neely School of Business. So I can't really say SEC Big 12 other than
I know you're
I
pretty clear.
probably wear
You're pretty
maroon
clear.
more than purple.
One of the guys I worked with in my first job was the mascot for TC. He was the Horned Frog when his senior year, I think, or something. So
Super Frog.
yeah.
He was Super Frog. No, I mean, it's a beautiful campus. It's a excellent education. They've done so much with the school, the offerings, the football program, all the sports programs. I mean, it's a great program.
And then from a baseball perspective, before I turn this actually back into whatever, is Texas A&M when the pitcher throws 4 balls in a row, do they sit there and chant?
Yes.
Like that's the one?
Yes. So,
savages.
Okay, I just have to say, if you ever have an opportunity to go to an Aggie baseball game, especially at, I think we now call it Bluebell Park at Olson Field, at College Station. So Jesse, next time you come to Texas, we need a plan. Like, let's build in a couple of days. I'll take you down to College Station. Let's do a tour of Kyle Field. We'll do a tour of the ballpark down there. But I was actually just looking at the tours of Kyle Field with my dad earlier today, because he hasn't been down in a while. My whole family is Aggies, so that's kind of where the Aggie thing comes from. But since they went SEC, and actually, well, since they went Big 12, then they went SEC, they have built on so much to not only the campus, but Kyle Field. It is one of the largest football stadiums in the country now. And the enrollment at Texas A&M is the largest enrollment of any college in the country now. So I don't think too many people realize that.
Over UT? Really?
It is. Yep. It's something like 79,000, 76,000 students annually now.
Holy crap.
And when I was there, 96 to 2000, it was like 40,000 students, and we thought that was huge. So it's just really exploded. But anyway, we'll have to maybe go to a baseball game or something. We'll have to figure that out.
Sure.
But it is so much fun going to an Aggie baseball game. I mean, you sit in the second deck with all the students, and a train goes by, and like you have all these, these signals and choo choo and all these chants that, the cheers and the chants, and it's fun. We were watching the college, some of the playoffs that have been on recently, and I just could hear it in the background, A&M, some of the chants that were going on, and I was laughing. I'm like, yes, they keep tradition alive. I love it so much.
I just remember watching one of those videos, and I was like, wow, what an atmosphere.
It's a really cool atmosphere. And I mean, they do like Wild West stuff, like, kind of like a load and gun type of thing. And it's a blast. It's a total blast.
Fantastic. All right. I'll get back into the whole. Yeah. Sorry,
you can kind of see some of my passion and what I enjoy.
No, I love it. It's definitely easy to talk to you about that stuff. I see a lot of squirrels, and I'm like, let's talk about that. But I want to say a few months back, you were selected by the Monitor as one of the top women in
Yes.
leasing. So congratulations for
Thank
that.
you.
Definitely well deserved.
Thank you. It was
What did?
such an honor. That was really
Yeah,
an honor and so unexpected.
okay, I was going to ask what happened, like when you got that email from Rita. Like, just walk me through that if you don't mind.
Just kind of what I was thinking. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I kind of was in shock. I was a little bit blown away. I looked at the magnitude of what that meant. And clearly, going through the process, I mean, I realized what it meant. It was such an honor to be kind of on that stage and to be, not compared, but, you know, with a group of really high profile women that honestly, I look at myself and I'm like, hey, I'm not them, like that's great. They definitely are deserving of the honor. But it was really it was really a neat experience, really humbling experience as well. Kind of went through the interview process and clearly what was in the article. Um, but when it came out, just to see who else was in there, I didn't know who else was in there. And I think this was the second year that they've done it, if I'm not
Mm,
mistaken. So it was a really cool honor to kind of be in that top however many, across the couple 3 years that they've done it. So
sure.
definitely a neat experience. And it's been neat to connect with some of those that were honored at some of the ELFA conferences since, and just to be able to get to know them better. And once you kind of read their story, and just to hear how other women have been successful in the industry. And it makes me really proud of everyone.
Sure. Well, thank you. No, definitely well deserving there for
Thank you.
sure, Jill.
Thank
And
you.
and then I think right after that there was the women's conference
Yep.
in Chicago. Was that your first time attending that one, or were you there the
Second.
previous year? Second time? Okay.
Second time. Yeah, that is the ELFA Women's Conference. It is extremely well put on, and what they do and how they get everybody collaborating and interactive with one another. I from the time of the conference, you get your name, you check in and get your name tag, and on the back of your name tag, you have table assignments. And so you may have like two different numbers. So like let's say I forget, I think it starts on Monday. Yeah, it starts on Monday and then it's on Tuesday as well. So like on Monday for the main session, they tell you like what table to go sit at. And then the second day they tell you what table to go sit at. But the purpose of it is to get you with people you don't know. And so it's a phenomenal networking experience, and people of all different stages in their career. So, you might have somebody who's new starting out, say in the 1 to 5 year range, new in their career, but you also may have somebody who's 30 plus years in the industry and in the business, and you just get to, learn from them and get to talk to them. And everybody's so incredibly friendly. They do a good job of also kind of getting everybody out into doing some, social settings too. Like, if we arrived early enough, they organized a walk around Millennium Park.
Mm,
And we were able to visit with some people, and clearly I met some people last year that I've kept in touch with. We've had a good group of people that have actually been really diligent about, okay, let's make sure we talk like once a quarter type of thing. And so we've been able to do that. And I just think it's really neat that we all help each other out in our industry. It's not necessarily just networking with people in our own company, but externally as well. They have the mentor program that is going on. And so, you can sign up to be a mentor or mentee. I'm mentoring someone this year I'm really excited about. And
okay.
so, hopefully be able to share some things and learn a lot from her. I think I'm going to learn more about the situation than I hope I can contribute as much as I probably will learn from her. So it's just neat. And then they do a dinner on the first night as well. After the cocktail reception, they do a dinner, where you can say, they ask you in advance, it's called dine around. And so they ask you in advance, like, do you want to go eat Italian food, American food, pub food, steakhouse? Like, what do you like? You pick your cuisine, and then they'll select some nice restaurants, and then they'll pair you with 6 to 8 people that you don't even know. And so we just meet at a certain point in the hotel, transport over to the restaurant together, and then they just slice the ticket however many ways, and everybody pays for their own dinner. And I mean, it's really an enjoyable time. And you talk about everything from grandkids to weddings to your own children to clearly careers as well. And just
Sure.
and I think so many of the contacts that I have made so far that I've really truly kept in touch with have actually been from the dine around experience. So it's really neat. Yeah, it's a cool conference.
Interesting. It definitely kind of gets you out of your comfort zone, because I mean, I just think of what I got in the industry in 2005, so it's 18 years, and typically you have your dinners all set up.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a Southwest experience where you get on a Southwest airline, you're like, oh my God, who am I gonna have to sit next to?
It's kind of like speed dating, but not dating. It's kind of like speed networking is really what it is. And it's a lot of fun. So, and some of the topics that are discussed from that conference, I mean, again, they do such a good job with I just talked about the logistics, but the topics that they talk about, it's things that everybody can learn from. It's, honestly, we welcome men to attend that as well. And last year there were 2022, there were quite a few men that were there. And I think that was because it was coupled with a funding conference that was right there too. And then this year there was only like 1 or 2 men that were there. But I really encourage, men to go to that too, because it's not necessarily just talking about women things. It's talking about, real things like work-life balance and networking. And one of the main topics this year was around like establishing your brand, and really how do you differentiate yourself and kind of create some of that office chatter in a healthy way that's not so disruptive, that you can grow, kind of help promote yourself and grow your career without quote promoting yourself, right? It's just kind of helping grow your career in a humble way. So it was, talking a lot about those kind of things. And then we had several panels, talking about people that were in different stages of their life. We had some really very young leaders. We had some that were more experienced in their careers as well, that would just talk through kind of how the industry has done over, the last 20, 30 years, and what's the new, the workforce today, like what are people looking for? And, like you talk about, you might need to go to your kid's baseball game or something like that. But what about those people that aren't married or aren't in a situation but they have other hobbies too? Or you have an older employee that has to look after an aging parent. So it's just basically helping balance some of those things and how to be an effective leader, right? And creating a culture.
Yeah, and I think that's things traditionally that people shy away from, just because it's like feelings. No one wants to talk about feelings. But now even more than ever, especially these are just important topics that need to happen. It's just providing the safe social setting to it, to let people actually let their guard down and have that conversation.
That's right.
I'll have to look into it next year. This year was it was too close to other things that were going on.
Right.
Selfishly, I wish it was around the funding conference, just because I'm already going to be there.
I do too. Just and also some of those roundtables that we had last year too. I've shared, my personal opinion, just the fact that I look forward trying to get as much out of it, pack as much info into a travel session as I can, and try to be as efficient with not only budgets, but, time. So,
yeah. I mean, it's a day for us to go sometimes to places and a day to come back. And it's only so much time we have in a week. That's for sure.
Right.
So speaking of conferences, I want to say I'm surprised that it took us what? You've been in the industry since
2000.
2000. You got 5 years on me. I graduated from college in 2003,
Okay.
so there was 2 years of me trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up. Still don't know really, but figuring it out.
We all
But
have those moments.
I was surprised it took me 17 years to finally meet you at a conference, and that was Capital Connections last year. And
It was.
they
We were on the same
somehow
team.
they somehow put me in charge of a team, and you're like, hey, what do I do? And I'm like, I don't know. I think I know, but I don't know.
Well, it was
It
my
was fun.
second year doing Capital Connections. So the first year that I did it was during COVID, and Kirk Phillips with Wintrust he was our team
uh,
lead
oh,
my
great.
first year.
So you
And
went
then
from that to this. Lovely.
no, it was great. It was great. You did a great job. So, and I just remember I was looking over at you. We had just done a Zoom meeting after our first one, and we had a little bit of downtime. And I remember looking over at you, and I'm like, now what do you do? And so it was just really interesting. And I'm so thankful that we totally hit it off and
Yeah.
have been able to bump into one another. I mean, several times a year at this point. But to your point, can't believe it's taken us that long to get to know one another.
Well, especially it's like you have Arizona as a territory. I know someone who lives in Arizona. That works.
You.
That works. And so I'm assuming it's kind of similar to other people that you've met either at these women's conference or throughout the year. I mean, you mentioned Kirk Phillips. I mean, what a great guy and mentor in the industry.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. I mean, I think so many of these conferences, there's so many opportunities to connect with industry leaders like Kirk and like, others that Donna Unitzi, for example. I mean, what a great example of how wonderful. She's just an awesome person.
I wish I had her sense of life. She's always
smiling.
Like it's like, do you ever not smile? Are you ever not happy? Like I need to bubble that up.
Yeah,
bottle it up.
I know she's a phenomenal person. But it's just being on the bank roundtable or the ELFA business steering council committee.
I never got that. It's like
I'm
business
sorry.
service provider.
If Julie Benson is watching,
member. Yeah,
Julie Benson's watching, I apologize that I just butchered the name of our committee, but basically the bank committee. So and this is my third year serving on that, so I should know the acronym for sure. But it's been such, between the bank roundtable, between the ELFA. I love it. I just see this tail.
Yeah, I guess while we're here, this is.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Hello.
Yeah, she just wanted to say hi. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I just see this tail.
Yeah, I was laughing. Like, no, it's gonna go in front of the camera. Sorry.
No, it's all good. No, but between the bank roundtable that I initially started serving on as a committee, going to the annual conferences, the annual convention, Capital Connections, the Women's Council conference, all of those are the ones I typically go to. And those are, they've just been such a great opportunity to meet others, to get additional kind of what's everybody else doing type of information as well, comparing some notes, commiserating at times about certain things that might be going on, with our economy or some of the current events that are going on. So it's just been, those conferences have been great, really good. And I'm pretty blessed to have met so many people that I am thankful to call friends and blessed to call them as a friend. So, and mentors as well.
So I guess what's it like going from a sales professional to now being in charge of a group? Because I think of like me as a traditional salesperson pre what I'm doing now, where it's like, okay, you can be kind of selfish, then go do whatever I want. Now it's like I can't do that anymore.
Well, I am still selling. So I kind of am a player coach. And so our
Yeah,
team is small enough. I mean, we've got 5 individuals on my team specifically. And, we're small enough to where we run pretty lean. And so with that creates opportunity for me to sell as well and to carry a
yeah,
book. So that part has always been fun for me, really fun. I've just been blessed so much throughout my career, and uh, doing some different positions throughout credit, like I said, collections, asset management, operations, so doing some
sure.
different things and getting some different exposures in certain areas. And honestly, as we all can probably say throughout at some point in our life and our careers, there's certain things that you like, there's certain things that you like better, and there's certain things that you're just like, I'm glad I had that experience, right? That's not my forte. And so sales is definitely my forte. It is definitely something that I have always enjoyed. And pretty much what I love so much about my day is a couple of things. From a sales perspective, getting out to seeing customers and learning new cool things that are going on and things that you kind of take for granted of widgets being made, or
Sure.
various projects that some of our customers work on. And so just really becoming trusted advisors for some of our clients is definitely something that I look forward to on an everyday basis. But from a management standpoint, and what I do from a manager standpoint, that my most favorite thing that I do is being able to help mentor and develop
Mm,
my team and my employees, and creating a culture of wanting to be here, wanting to work hard every day, and giving it your all. And helping them grow to the next level, to their potential. So that has been, like I said, that's truly been a blessing to me to be able to be in that position. And, I'm honored that I've been able to serve in this role, in this capacity, for the last almost 6 years. And so it's been a blast. The Some of the things that you don't enjoy as much, from a manager standpoint, some of
paperwork.
the
Go away.
paperwork, some of the HR things, that come up, some of those stressors that come up.
Yeah,
And honestly, it's the HR stuff is really not all that bad, but it's just, some of the corporate stuff that you have to do that, can be a little bit tiresome, where you feel like it's taking you away from, maybe a sales function, or really being able to spend the time with an employee, being able to develop them further. So, I mean, we
sure.
clearly all understand why we have some of those red tapes and things that we do. So, but it's, yeah, it's just, I kind of have to balance both. I balance both of those things: training employees, and doing annual or semi-annual reviews. We do them twice a year here at BOK Financial, to mentoring employees, to dealing with just some of the stuff that goes on, that we all have to
Sure.
do. So
All about the stuff.
the
Yeah.
stuff.
So you mentioned something interesting there. Talk about creating that culture, and with a small team that you have, but you're a small team, but I think you might have. You're in Texas, Tim's
Yep.
in Tulsa, Erica, and she's in
Arizona.
Arizona. So it's like, how do you, number one, create that culture, and then how do you maintain
Right.
that culture being so far away from each other?
Yeah, that's a great question. And culture has always been, I mean, that's what makes it, right? It makes you want to work here. I tell our son and I tell our daughter too, as they are growing, and they're both, well, we've got one that's entering into his freshman year, and then we've got our daughter that's going to be a junior in college. And they're still figuring out life, and like, what do they want to do, right? And I just tell them all the time, I'm like, as long as you work with an organization, or you work with somebody who you really like, that you can respect. You don't have to like them all the time, but somebody that you can respect as a leader. I mean, you can do anything. And that could even mean that you be the best garbage man out there, if that is where God puts that in your pathway. But it's creating a culture. So what I like to do is, so when I started here at BOK Financial, it was myself and one other person. And so we have been able to grow to 3, and then 4, then back to 3, then back to 4, then 5, then back to 4, then back to 5. So just as people are moving on to different things in their life and in their careers and so forth. But so, and we're continuing to grow. Ideally, we'd like to grow to have someone in every major market within BOK Financial at some point. I don't know what that time frame looks like, but that's kind of what is in my sights. But creating a culture of really being transparent with my team, right? And letting them know what is the goal. And during the interview process of bringing somebody on, I'm like, hey, this is how it's like, what we do here. And
Sure.
this is where we've been, this is where we're going, and this is what I'm building. And I want you to be a part of that, potentially, if that works for you. And so I'm going to tell you, as I tell them, I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I mean, like I said, there's certain days that are a whole lot more fun than others. And, some of those challenges that we've overcome. And so I'm really transparent with my team, but also we really work hard together. And so 4 times a year, every single week we have a team meeting. And then 4 times a year, we get together for an extended sales meeting. Typically in person 1 to 2 times a year, just kind of depending on time of year, schedules, but always kicking off the beginning of the year with an in-person multi-day sales meeting, talking about different topics. And I let every single person collaborate and be a part of identifying the agenda and what we talk about, because that's important to them too. But part of that too, before we start with the meetings and start with the business stuff, we always do team building. And I am really big on that, as far as we're going to have fun together, but we're going to work hard too. So, some of the team building things that we've done to kind of collaborate, we've raced Lamborghinis. We've gone axe throwing. We've gone to some baseball games together. We've been to, I think, a hockey game and so forth. But there's those kind of activities that help bring us all together and, work together more effectively as a team. And so just when you get to know people and interact with them on, as unfortunately not being able to see one another as much as we do, we really try to make our time count. We do dinners and stuff like that together too. But another thing that I personally do is almost every single day, I really try to reach out to every single person on my team, saying, hey, what you got going on? And, tell me what's, what can I help with? And, just kind of let them have the floor of, talking through questions that they may have, or if they're having a bad day, or if they want to celebrate, it's like all of those things. I mean, it's kind of just a check-in. And we have a really close team, and we really promote no drama as well. And so, there's that professional but personal, boundary there. But it's worked for us. Our team's really tight. We've been able, for the most part, as I said, we've grown a lot. We picked up a few of our team members along the way. But, we've been together, pretty much since I've started here. But like Tim and I had worked together, Tim Kabisky, that's on my team, we've known one another and worked together for pretty close to 20 years and been, professional colleagues, but also personal friends. And so it just, having some of those interests and working together really helped build those cultures.
Thank you. Some great takeaways there for sure. I ask everyone who comes on here to give me a little fun fact about themselves. So anything you'd be willing to share with the audience, Jill?
Fun fact. Professional, personal fun fact.
Nah, something outside of work. Like besides the fact that you love sports.
Yes. Um, okay, fun fact. I love to travel, and so far to date, I've been to 6 of the 7 continents. And
What's
so I plan
Antarctica? Is that the seventh?
that's the 7th. It's on the
Okay.
list. It's on the
Okay.
list. Hopefully to get to. It's a little bit of a time commitment to be able to get down there and do some of the activities that I want to do. But I love to travel. I love to explore different cultures and learn about people, and and see beautiful scenery. A lot of my trips, as you know, Jesse, are kind of off the beaten path. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's, being able to experience some of those quieter places in our world, really brings me a lot of peace. So,
No, that's admirable. As much as it's like I want that, there's another part of me where it's like I don't know if I can be away for that long. So
it's
need help. Need help.
it's been really neat. I mean, I've just been blessed so much throughout my career, throughout my life, and some of the opportunities that have been put in my way. And being able to see things from, the northern lights to the peak and summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, to Machu Picchu, to Everest Base Camp,
That's
um,
Everest. That's
New
great.
Zealand, kind of
Yeah.
going to tour the whole, I can't talk now. Sorry, I'm tongue tied. The South
Sorry.
Island of New Zealand,
Okay.
to explore in some different places around Europe. So it's been, and Alaska, fly fishing in Alaska. I mean, I've been fortunate, like I said, to be able to do so many of the cool things that have been out there for me. But it's been, that's a fun fact about me that I love to do, and kind of challenge myself physically in a different way, away from work, and be able to incorporate that with my family. I'm getting my husband. Oh yeah, Patagonia as well. We've done Patagonia, so Patagonia is incredible. But my husband enjoys it as well, and I'm so thankful for that. Both of us thrive off of needing to have some peace and quiet, and recharge our batteries. And we like to have active vacations, and so we're getting our kids more involved in that. So Brooke and Wiley both are learning, kind of, hey, we do hiking a lot, and we do, kind of some more challenging things on our vacations. And so it's been a blast. Those are some things that I like to do.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Definitely. When you mentioned the Everest Base Camp, I was kind of like, because I think I just watched the documentary on something, and I was kind of like, isn't that still dangerous? Like, wait a minute.
It was. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely was. So it was, it was pretty dangerous, from the fact that so many people get sick and how sick they get up there. And so, you're still at, just under 20,000 feet in elevation, 17, 18, 20,000 feet. I forget the exact number at this point. I don't know. Fun fact about this: did you know they move Everest Base Camp every single year? So they put base camp, it's in the same general area, but they put the actual peak and set up based on avalanches and snows and everything. They move it around. So the elevation technically changes slightly every year.
No, I did not know that. Did not know that. It makes sense though, I guess, but
Yeah,
no,
it's
didn't
pretty
know that.
humbling when you stand next to the ice falls and the avalanche area, and you hear an avalanche come down, and you see the ice falls, and you can just hear the ice creaking and cracking and moving.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean
that's
the wrong avalanche happens, you're gone. Like you're like
right. Well, the time of year that I went, the path, the trail that I was on didn't have any snow, but clearly up in higher elevations, it clearly does. But it's it was a cool experience. But there's just a lot of severe upper respiratory infections that do occur. And I came back with one as well. But there's a lot of people that struggle with altitude in addition to, or not being conditioned and prepared for such a, kind of such a trek. But it's, it's just some neat places all over the world. And it's, like I said, I'm glad I've been able to, God's given me that opportunity to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
So I have one final question for you, if you don't
Absolutely.
mind.
Sure.
At the end of the day, why would somebody want to do business with BOK Financial Equipment Finance?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for asking that question. Honestly, we're such a relationship bank and company, and we take a real personal approach within our equipment finance space. As I described earlier about building a culture with my team and creating that personal feel with my team where they feel like they can share and a safe space type of thing. We kind of want that with our clients too, and we let them know that we can offer them a fair and competitive product, and they get kind of everything all at the same time. They get the relationship side of it, and be able to utilize us for some various resources. Whether that be some of our third party vendors that we utilize, some of our knowledge base that we have, and so it's been a really, really great time to grow our business. And I really think that's why a lot of people like to do business with us.
Oh, nail on the head. I mean, relationships are a lot of what we have in this equipment finance industry. It's one of the reasons I love being in it.
That's right. We have such a great industry, and like we were talking about throughout this fireside chat, just the mentors and the friendships that are developed along the way. And not everybody can say that, but we really have a pretty special industry. I'm glad that I joined it out of sports management.
That's fantastic. Well, next thing you know, it'd be like, they're building this facility. I think we should finance it. Maybe.
But yeah, it's exactly right. So no, it's a lot of fun. And I encourage people to, if you haven't already, to find a mentor to help somebody grow, to help you grow throughout your career and throughout the industry. Whether it's somebody within one of our industry associations that we are all affiliated with, or somebody within your company, or somebody externally. I don't think I shared this. I actually started in equipment finance from a grandfather-like figure, family friend of ours, but he knew me pretty much since middle school, and that, helped follow me and also my brother in our sports careers and on to college. And so he actually is the one who was instrumental in getting me on at the associates. He had been with the associates over 40 years. So he's been a great mentor. I've had various mentors throughout the industry, but from a personal standpoint, honestly, my dad and my grandfather both really spent a lot of time with me in training with how to be a good manager, how to build a culture, how to conduct things from a professional standpoint while still being authentic, right? And genuine. And so I'm so thankful for those relationships that I've had with family and clearly friends throughout the industry too. So I encourage everybody, whoever is watching, that if this resonates with you, to really reach out and try to find some sort of a mentor to help continue to build your career.
I agree 100%. 100%. Nothing I need to add to that. That's for sure. All right, Jill. Well, I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
You have a great weekend, and look forward to, I don't know, our paths will probably cross over the next couple of months.
Yes, so. That's right. So I appreciate it, Jesse. Thanks again for having me.
All right, not a problem. You have a good day. Take care.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye.